Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to Synchronicity Web TV. I am your host, Nadiya Shah, and this is your moment of synchronicity. Well, I'm just so excited here today. I am part of Tarot Summer School 2021. As you may know, if you watch me, I talk about this, I share about it on Instagram. And one of my fellow teachers is the amazing Kate, the Daily Tarot Girl on YouTube phenomenon. And I had a chance to get to know her a little bit at one of these campfire things that we did, getting to know the other teachers. And her energy was just so beautiful, so light. And so now here I am, and I get a chance to talk tarot with someone who knows what they're talking about. So Kate, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much. So happy to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm so excited that you're here as well. So yes, we are part of Tarot Summer School together. That's very exciting. And I saw that your course is already up. My course just got up as well. So let me ask.
Oh no, my course isn't up until August.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so there's lots of time for people to sign up and get a chance to do your course as well, to benefit from your course. But let me take it back to the beginning. Let me ask you, how did you get into tarot?
Okay, thank you. So I got into tarot when I was about 25, I think, 25, 26. And I discovered tarot kind of, I guess, by accident. I was working in a bank and not that happy. And I was kind of at that stage in my life where I was like, well, I don't want to do this forever, but what am I going to do with my life? And I ended up quitting that job just on a whim, all of a sudden, without a backup plan. And at the time I had a friend who was really into tarot reading, and she kind of, I think she kind of introduced me to it a little bit. And so we would get together and practice on each other. And I was unemployed for a while, so I had a lot of free time. And so I spent all that unemployed time studying tarot. And I didn't end up doing tarot as a career till much later, till a few years later. But that's kind of how I got into tarot, and that's how I discovered it. And it was this time in my life that was just I was so uncertain about everything. And I think I was really yearning for to feel more connected to my higher self, to my life plan. It was that time in my life where I was starting to question, what am I supposed to do with my life? What is my destiny? Or, what is my life plan here? So that's kind of how I first came to tarot.
And so how do you understand your practice? Is it that you understand it as a connection to your higher self? How do you approach it?
Yeah, I think of tarot as being a really great tool for not just connecting with your higher self or connecting with your soul, but kind of connecting to the big picture, the greater plan, or the universe. And so when I'm reading tarot for myself, I kind of see it as having a conversation with my soul, or having a conversation. I mean, there's different ways of thinking of it too. You could think of it as having a conversation with your spirit guides or your higher self. But I think of it as kind of having a conversation with my soul. So yeah, that's kind of how I think of tarot.
That's very powerful, to have a conversation with your soul. So it's almost like we do, and I believe, because I'm an astrologer and I think about how we have different planets in our chart, and they represent the different needs that we have, the different parts of us, and how sometimes it can be complex, or sometimes they work well together, or sometimes they don't. And so when you talk about having a conversation with your soul, it makes me think about how we are varied. We have different parts of us, basically.
Yeah, we do. And what's so fascinating about the tarot is I see every tarot card represents an aspect of who we are. So if you have a deck of tarot cards and you look through them, there are so many different cards with different images, and they all represent different energies and different themes and stories and personalities, but we have all of that inside of ourselves. And so that's one thing that I tell people to focus on when they're trying to learn the tarot is see yourself in the cards. Look at each card and ask, how does this show up in me, or how does this show up in my life? Because we can all relate to each and every tarot card in some way.
Wow. And so these different tarot cards are like different parts of us is how you see it, or different parts of the human
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I do. I think not only do the cards represent different parts of ourselves, but I think that tarot as a whole kind of helps you explore yourself and helps you dive in and explore those different parts of yourself. And so my course that I did for Tarot Summer School is called Tarot Journaling for Soul Explorers, and it's basically how to use the art of tarot journaling to dive into yourself and explore yourself in kind of in some ways a down to earth way, and in other ways kind of more of a spiritual kind of way. Because I feel like tarot journaling for me has been even more helpful than like tarot reading. And I love doing readings for myself, but I find that when I get my journal out and my pen and my tarot deck and I look at the cards and I journal, I feel like I can really go deep with the cards and have all kinds of epiphanies and inspiration and creative ideas just from doing that. So that practice of tarot journaling has been so helpful for me over the years.
And it must make you a better reader, right? The more you give to something, the better that you get at it. And it must make you that much better when you're in that moment of a reading to be able to understand that card and why that card may be showing up in that position at that moment.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I feel like the time that I spend with my tarot deck contemplating the cards, writing about the cards, that's what helped me learn tarot. And I know a lot of people will, they'll maybe get a tarot book out and they'll think, it's all about memorizing the keywords or memorizing kind of the meanings for each card. But really it's about spending quality time with your deck. And something I love to do with tarot is I like to enter the card. So that is where you look at a tarot card and you imagine yourself like stepping into it. Sometimes I'll imagine myself getting really small and like going into the card, or I'll imagine the card getting really big and like walking through it like a doorway. And then you can go in there and you can explore the card and you can use like all your senses to like really feel into the card. And I feel like that for me was the best way to really learn about tarot and really like truly understand the tarot. Because I feel like tarot, you can understand it on a surface level. So you can read books about it, you can learn the keywords, you can memorize the meanings of the cards and understand the structure of the tarot. But that is just scratching the surface. And I think that that's great to start with that when you're a beginner. But at some point, you want to dive in to the tarot and you want to develop like a real personal relationship and connection with the tarot cards and really get to know the cards on like a real visceral and spiritual level. And that once you start to get to that place in your tarot studies, that I think is when things start to shift. So for people watching who maybe have dabbled in tarot or are trying to learn tarot, and maybe you're getting frustrated or you're feeling overwhelmed, stick with it and don't worry so much about memorizing the keywords or understanding, what each card means. Like really have fun, play around with it, and be willing to really like enter the cards, dive into it, and see if you can see yourself in the cards.
Wow, that's so powerful. Wow, I love it. And so, how do you understand? Like, okay, so just now, before we started recording here, I did an interview for Kate's YouTube channel. And so, I will link to that below as well so you guys can see Kate interview me, which is a lot of fun too. But we were talking about Carl Jung and how he understood tarot, or the experience of tarot, or the experience of astrology as a moment of synchronicity. And like learning about the theory of synchronicity really shifted things for me, which is why I've named so many of what I do. Like my university is Synchronicity University, my publication company is Synchronicity Publications, because I think that it's such a valuable insight to have. And so to give you guys a little bit of a background for those watching, early in Carl Jung's career, when he talked about astrology, he used what he called the seed theory, which is a quote that is often associated with him, which is this idea that anything born in a moment contains the characteristics of that moment. So this is called the seed theory. But later on in his career, he actually changed that, and he believed that practices like astrology and tarot relied on what he called synchronicity, which is this idea of a meaningful coincidence. And sometimes, like I know in a talk once, I used that phrase, meaningful coincidence, and someone really didn't like that. They thought, no, it's not a coincidence and stuff. They didn't like that word. But really, it's this idea of a meaningful chance that you're able to make a connection between what's happening in your life and that moment when the message comes forward. And so let me ask you, how do you understand, like when you think about the power of a reading? So yes, there's the readings we do for ourselves, but the power of the reading that you might do for someone else, how do you understand what's happening in that moment? How do you articulate it?
Oh, that's a really good question.
I like that question.
Yeah, okay. So when I give someone a reading, before I start the reading, I set an intention, and I set the intention to not only connect with my higher self and my heart space, because I see my heart as being the center of my intuition and my soul. So I set that intention, and I also set the intention to connect with the person I'm reading for, to connect with their higher self and their heart as well. And so I see the reading as being kind of like a conversation between my soul and theirs. And maybe that sounds kind of too deep, but it's like I'm consulting their soul and their higher self, and I'm asking their soul and their higher self, do you have any messages? What is important to you? What do you want me to tell this person? So I see myself as being like a mediator or whatever between that person and their higher self. So that's how I see a reading. And I always intend that whatever comes through in the reading, they need to hear at this time, so that whatever comes through will be relevant to what's going on for them. And how I like to do my readings is I don't actually do a lot of live face-to-face readings. People will email me their questions, and then I sit alone and I have a microphone and I record myself doing the reading, and then I send them the MP3 file. So they're not actually there in the room with me. And then afterwards they can ask me questions, and often people will send me kind of a message, saying how the reading resonated for them and how it fit in. And it's always fascinating. I think it always surprises me, and maybe it shouldn't, but it always shocks me how accurate some of the stuff that will come through in a reading, how it fits with their life and how it makes sense. So I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Yeah, for sure. And I think about how a lot of it is about trusting the symbol too, right? Because I too do those types of readings where I might never meet this person or have a conversation with them, but they can fill out a form, and then I will record a video for them and I will show them their chart, and I'll be like, look, this is happening. These are the experiences you're having in your life right now. This is, the answer to whatever questions they have. And it is very powerful how much it resonates with people. And I know it resonates because people who purchase these, they tend to come back again and again and again. And so many people have purchased these over the years. So it tells me something about how these readings can resonate with people. And especially when the other person isn't there, it really is about trusting the symbol, like entirely relying on the symbol and your own inspiration, your own connection to speak to whatever it is that this person needs to hear in this moment. So Kate, I wanted to tell you a story, if you remember, on your channel, but we ended up running out of time, so I didn't get to tell you. But basically,
I think I rudely just stopped recording. I thought we were done our interview, and they were like, I was going to tell a story.
It's okay, I get to tell it now. And you can link to this, that if people really want to hear the story, they can. But basically, this last Monday, I went to an exhibition, a temporary exhibition here at Galleria Daliana. And it's basically like Salvador Dali 2.0. And it's like an AR-fueled interpretation of Salvador Dali's work, and really incredible. And they have lots of art there from Salvador Dali.
Sorry, what is AR?
AR is augmented reality.
Okay.
So you have an app and you can look at a piece of art, and then the art will like come alive on your phone and do all kinds of crazy things for you. It's very exciting. So anyways, I went there late. I didn't know I was late. I didn't know that I had to buy the tickets beforehand, that the system would be closed. But when I got there, they were like, look, the system is closed. If you want to go in, go and talk to the people at the gallery instead of here at the ticket booth and see if they'll let you in. So I went and I begged and I talked to so many people, and they were just lovely and generous. And they said, okay, come on in. There's only a half hour left, but you can enjoy, and please buy something at the souvenir stand before you go. And I was like, okay, great. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. And the people were really very lovely. But what was very exciting was that, and I didn't know this was going to be there, but they had the whole tarot series up as these massive paintings of Salvador Dali and his interpretation of the different tarot cards. And you actually were able to see some of these tarot cards come alive in accordance to how Salvador Dali understood these tarot archetypes. So anyways, one card that I really loved was his interpretation of temperance. And I thought, okay, yeah, I need some temperance in my life right now. Things are feeling a little extreme. I need some temperance. And then I went, and so I bought this big mug, and I love a big mug. As you can see here, you guys, I love a big mug. And I was like, I bought a big mug with the temperance card on it. And I was so excited about this. And I come back home, and on the way home, I'm in the Uber, and I'm like, you know what, I feel like going for a walk. So I go for a nice long walk, and then I pick up some of my packages. I walk in my door, and just as I come up to the counter to put down the box, the bag breaks, and I hear it drop, and I hear a crash. And I go, oh my God, what? Oh no, please. And then I look, and of course the mug is broken. The temperance mug is broken. And so just today I got some crazy glue, and I won't be able to use it as a mug, but I will be able to, use it like maybe as a decoration or something like that. But anyways, I have been contemplating the significance of this. I've been like, wow, I thought I needed temperance. Then I walked in, and either temperance was like, look, you don't have me. Just so you know, you don't have me. Or temperance is like, maybe you don't need temperance. Maybe it's okay to be a little extreme right now in your life. So even that to me was such a powerful example of synchronicity. Like right away, I thought about Carl Jung and synchronicity, and I thought about how there's got to be some connection here, right? Like temperance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it breaks. I was so looking forward to using this to drink my coffee every day, and then it breaks. How would you interpret that?
I think that it's either that you don't have like temperance represents like balance and being kind of like walking the middle road. The fact that it's smashed, it could mean that that isn't what you need to be doing, or that it is, and that you really. But I feel like if it was what you needed, then it wouldn't have broken, because if it was what you needed and you bring it into your life and then you use it as a mug, I feel like it was maybe that you shouldn't be trying to be different than how you are right now. And so if you don't have temperance right now, maybe in some way it's serving you. And so that was maybe the message, is like, and think about like, how does not being temperate, how does being kind of extreme in some ways or unbalanced in some ways, how is that serving you right now? Because it might be working for you right now. Maybe right now isn't the time to try to cultivate temperance. Maybe it will be in like a month from now or 2 months from now. Maybe right now isn't the time. I don't know. What do you think of that interpretation?
I love that interpretation, Kate. Thank you for that perspective. I really, really appreciate it. I just knew as soon as it happened that I had to tell you this story. Like you were one of the first, because I knew we had planned to do this. So it was like, oh my God, I got to talk to Kate about this. Like, what the heck? But I think that you're right. Like if it hadn't broke, then I would be contemplating the temperance card every single day. I'd be drinking my coffee, I'd be looking at it, I'd be considering the symbolism. But the fact that it broke, I think it speaks very powerfully to maybe, yeah, maybe it's okay. Go say what?
And now, so if you glue it together, if you use the crazy glue, now you're going to have a mug that is put together, but it's going to have cracks and glue. It's going to be held together. It's like an imperfect temperance. And I think that's the message, is that you don't have to be perfectly balanced all the time, because that's impossible. But to allow for the possibility of balance, but not perfectly balanced, if that makes sense.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for that. I will be rewatching this and considering what you just shared and sharing your wisdom while I'm crazy gluing the mug together. Later on tonight, I will do that. Kate, thank you so much. Is there anything you want people to know before we part ways, at least for now on YouTube, parting ways?
No, but just if anyone watching this is interested in learning more about tarot cards or tarot card reading, you can check out my website, dailytarotgirl.com. I've got tons of fun tarot learning resources, tarot spreads, deck reviews, tarot exercises, all that good stuff on my website. And then, of course, also my YouTube channel, Daily Tarot Girl. I do weekly readings, and I have lots of how-to videos and stuff like that on there as well.
And I will link to all of that below. Now, Kate, before you go, what is your favorite tarot deck? Let me ask you that.
Ooh, okay, at the moment it is the Lightseers Tarot by Chris Ann. At the moment, this is my favorite. I also like the Everyday Witch Tarot. That's a favorite of mine too. I have so many decks, and there's so many that I love, but right now the one that I'm reaching for all the time is the Lightseers Tarot.
The Lightseers, that's exciting. Thank you, Kate, again. I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your love and your wisdom and your insights and all that you do, your generosity of spirit, your openness. Thank you for all of it.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for watching. And until we connect again, take care. Bye.